What is up, YouTube? It is the Ville Outdoors here. Today is August 29th of 2024. I am here at one of my local creeks. This is French Creek here in Chester County, Pennsylvania. And I have not fished this stretch of French Creek that I'm about to fish in probably 2 or 2.5 years. So the main goal of today is just have a kind of a relaxing fishing session. You know, we're not targeting any new species today. We're just trying to go out there and see just how many fish we can catch and see how many species we can catch after predatory species in particular. So smallmouth bass is going to be the main predator fish in here, but we also have some rock bass and some species of sunfish that are in here as well, as well as fall fish on top of that. So a couple different species that we could encounter here today. Instead of the usual ugly stick combo that I got with me, this is actually a rod that I was given to by my uncle, or one of my uncles, a few years ago. This is an older rod, so it's a Berkley Graphite lightning rod, and I've just been using it as an extra ultralight combo kind of. And then on here we have a Shimano Zuraca 2500F. This is an older reel as well. On here is 6-pound Leland's S.O.S trout line. This is a monofilament line. And instead of the Trout Magnet like I typically use for creek fishing, we're gonna kind of match the hatch today. We got a little Trout Slayer on here. So this is made by the same people that make the Trout Magnet over at Leland's. But this is the Trout Slayer, and it's in a little crawfish shape there, or crayfish. And this is the natural color, so it's mostly brownish to gray on top, and it's got some orange and yellow on it as the little arms and claws on there. So that's what we're going to be starting with today, just kind of jigging it through these deeper holes here. A little bit of breeze going on, so we're going to have to take that into account in our cast, make sure we don't end up in a tree or so. But I'm going to walk upstream a little ways, get to fishing, and we'll see what we can do. So stick with it and stay tuned, and hopefully we can put together a good day of fishing. All right, guys, we got our first fish coming up here. Actually, he's already up, and this is one of the fish I thought we were going to come across, and this is the fall fish, Smallmouth corporalis, I believe is a scientific name. This is actually one of the largest minnow species native to North America, and the largest minnow species native to Pennsylvania. They can grow up to sizes of 18 inches or so, possibly even more. And this guy fell for the Trout Slayer, surprisingly. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick shot of this guy, and then we're gonna let him go. All right, guys, fall fish going back in the water. He is ready to go. There he goes. He may have been hung up on a rock there. Felt like a bite though. That fall fish we just caught is one of the more aggressive minnow species you'll find here in Pennsylvania. The creek chub, the Smallmouth atromaculatus or something like that, is also pretty aggressive, and they'll hit artificial lures as well, but not as often as the fall fish will. But the creek chub will just take about any bait they can fit in their mouths if they're up to the task. Oh, we got a fish. That was very last minute. Now this is a little smallmouth bass. I don't think we'll take a picture of this guy because I'm confident we'll get a larger one than that today. Bit off a little more than each and chew. Guy had decent shoulders on him for a fish that size, so hopefully we'll find a mama or papa that wants to take the Trout Slayer. All right, guys, we got a fish on here. Let's see what we got. Oh, it's another species for the day. This is a rock bass. Pretty healthy one at that too. We'll take a picture of this guy. Fell for the Trout Slayer. Nice one. All right, got a rock bass unhooked here. He's gonna go back in the water. Off he goes. So up to 3 species on the day. We got fall fish, smallmouth bass, and rock bass. So we got some of the easy ones left to go. Red breast sunfish should most definitely run across at some point today. Largemouth bass aren't very common in here, although they are in here. Green sunfish is another one that we may or may not find, but we should definitely find red breast sunfish. There you go, guys. This is a little bit better. Another smallmouth bass. This one a little bit better size than that first one we got, though. Took the Trout Slayer. No problem. I didn't even realize I had a fish on it first. I just felt the line getting a little tight. Decided to pull it up. He's got a little fat belly on him. We'll take a shot of this guy and then we're gonna let him go. Alright, smallmouth bass going back in the water. Oh, he did not want to wait around. He was ready to go. And that guy came right from that pool over there. Kind of right in the center there where my rod tips at. All right, we fished that hole pretty thoroughly and only got a rock bass and a little smallmouth bass, so not much there. We are going to walk upstream a little bit further, and the reason we're walking upstream is so all the sediment and stuff that we stir up drifts behind us and doesn't spook any of the fish ahead of us. So that's why we're walking upstream. And also I know that there's a couple holes up here that usually hold some decent fish. At least some decent fish I've caught in the past. But it's been about 2 years since I last fished here, so I have no idea what it's going to look like when we get up there. I'm seeing a lot of little shiners in the shallows here, so I'm thinking about maybe switching up to a minnow-like profile instead of a crayfish profile, because I'm definitely seeing a lot more minnows than crayfish right now. So that's something to keep in mind as well. We want to try and match what these fish are feeding on, and that'll help us get more bites. Here you guys, smallmouth on. It's not a bad one there. We will definitely take that. Oh, buddy. Gotcha. Decent little creek smallie on the Trout Slayer. Got him on the corner of the mouth. Pretty little guy. We are going to take a shot and then we're going to let this guy go. Our third smallmouth bass of the day and the biggest one so far. We'll see if there's one bigger than that we can get today. Alright, going back in the water. He is good to go. Leaves are starting to fall off the trees. You can see them all drifting down the creek here. Kind of gets annoying when you're fishing with lures because that's something that gets in the way of your cast. Got a fish here. This is another fall fish. This is bigger than the last one we got. Come on, buddy. Stay still. There we go. Get him off the hook here. That guy came right off that stick that's sticking out of the water over here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but that's where he came from. There he goes. Oh, splashed me a little bit. That's right, we're in the water anyway. Here you go, guys. I just sight fished another species for the day. This is a red breast sunfish. You can tell by that longer opercular flap there. No other sunfish species here in the Northeast will have that. If you watched my video a few weeks ago about Eastern Pennsylvania creek fish identification, you would already have that knowledge in your knowledge bank. But there he is, pretty little guy. We're gonna go ahead and take a shot and release him. All right, red breast sunfish going back in the water. He is good to go. Looks like there's some fish in the shady spot over here. See if I can entice any fish to come out. I want to get it tight to the bank where those roots are, but we don't want to get it in the roots. There's a fall fish. That's kind of what I was getting at there. Now I'd much rather a smallmouth come out and hit it, but we'll take another fall fish. Alright, so I switched up presentations to this trout magnet here. I went with a black jig head, 1/64 ounce, that comes with the trout magnet to avoid having too much flash. I don't want to have too much of a flashy presentation in this crystal clear water that we got right now. And I went with a white and gray kind of pattern to it to kind of mimic what a shiner would look like in the water. They are mostly gray in coloration, but they still have that flash to them in the sunlight, and that's where that white coloration is going to come in, being that flash. So I'm going to jig this along and see if we can get any bites. Another fall fish coming up. There's a school of white suckers and a couple smallmouth bass mixed in with these fall fish. I'm gonna try and get the smallmouth bass to bite. They're being a little spookish though. Come on, fish. Where you at? There's one. This one feels a bit nicer. Oh yeah. I'll take this. It's definitely a better one. There we go. Not a creek giant, but it's a better fish. It's more along the lines of what we were looking for. Pretty one. We're gonna go ahead and take a shot and let this guy go. All right, our chunky little creek smallmouth is ready to go back in the water. There he goes. Just casted directly below those riffles there from that little mini waterfall, and that smallmouth smacked at the trout magnet. All right, so I finally got one fish out of this pocket that usually produces a couple good ones, so hopefully there's more. This is probably one of the better spots. The flow of the water over these rocks keeps the water oxygenated and slightly cooler compared to the rest of the creek. So that's why you'll have some of these larger fish gather here. Although these southeast Pennsylvania creeks, most of them don't get too deep and don't hold a ton of food for these fish. There's plenty of crayfish and minnows around, so there is potential for a smallmouth to grow to larger size in these creeks, but it just doesn't happen. Most of the larger smallmouth will be in the Schuylkill River around here, which is kind of a tough place to figure out. Here's a fish. This is a red breast sunfish we got here. The biggest one we've caught so far today. There he is. He's good to go. Another fish from underneath the falls. There's a fish. That's more the size we were looking for. Come on. No, he popped off. Dang it. That was a good smallmouth right there. Not compared to, you know, like Great Lakes smallmouth or anything like that, but you know, for this creek, that was the bite we were looking for all morning, and that was likely the only one that we'll have from a fish that size. And I missed the hook set on him, I guess. That was a decent bit larger than that other one we caught, so that's rather unfortunate. It's good to see that this spot here does still hold decent sized smallmouth like them. Decent for a creek. Well, a decent smallmouth on here, guys. Hopefully I don't lose this one. There we go. This one's got a fat belly on him. Oh boy. Come on, don't fall off the hook. Alright, I got a hand on him now. Look at that belly on him. We'll take that on the Trout Magnet. Take a shot of that guy and then we're gonna let him go. All right, smallmouth going back in the water. He's good to go. Well, on one of my jigs I accidentally snagged a sucker, a large one at that. So we're gonna see if I can get him up here without losing my Trout Magnet and get him unhooked. It seems to be he's giving up now. Come on, buddy, I'm gonna release you. There we go. Got a Trout Magnet out of his sign, untangle him. That is a white sucker right there. Pretty large one at that too. So I'm gonna take a shot of this guy and then we're gonna let him go. All right, our foul hooked white sucker is gonna go back in the water. We're gonna get him revived. He's good to go. All right guys, that is going to do it for today's video. We showcased 5 different species of fish here in French Creek. 4 of those were caught legitimately. So we caught rock bass, we caught smallmouth bass, we caught red breast sunfish, and fall fish were the 4 species of fish we caught on hook and line. And then you add the white sucker in there for the species that we caught on accident while we were jigging the Trout Magnet off the bottom. So not a bad day all in all. We got some decent sized creek smallmouth bass for at least this area of Pennsylvania. At least the creeks, they don't grow them too big in my experience. So not a bad day. We could have done better if we got that one big bite that we missed down beneath the falls there. We started out by using the Trout Slayer. That was the crayfish looking lure, and then we switched things up to the Trout Magnet to get a little bit of a smaller presentation, and that drew a little bit more bites, but I don't think the difference was too large today. I think they both worked pretty well, although the Trout Magnet is going to have my favoritism, so there's that too. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. More of a relaxed style of fishing today, not going after new species or anything like that. Not really a huge goal in mind, just to enjoy some nice summer weather and do a little bit of creek fishing close to home. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you did. It would be much appreciated that you support the channel. And I will be seeing you guys on next episode of the Ville Outdoors, whether that be saltwater or freshwater, I don't know. I want to make some more saltwater trips before it gets too cold. So we'll start making some more road trips here in a bit. So with that, I will see you guys next time.